Right on.
Okay, guys, if everybody else could just turn off your texts, so your phones and your laptops and all that jazz, let's give attention because they were so great at giving you attention when you're presenting. Let's see how it goes. You know who's going first?
Yep, we are.
And we have a timer. Great. There's all your times. Cool. Okay, when you're ready, go ahead, please.
All right, so I'm Taryn, this is Oscar, and our debate here is about science versus religion. We're team science. Now, if you're religious, we might have some facts that might hurt you, so don't get upset. Or maybe we don't, maybe you're open-minded. But why we went with science is because they wanted to, debate religion, because they're, you guys are science people, so you want to do that. So, wow, this is great so far. So we'll start with the definition of science from Merriam-Webster Dictionary, which is knowledge or a system of knowledge covering general truths or the operation of general laws, especially as obtained and tested through scientific method. So why is that better than religion? It's tested. There is proof behind everything in it, and it's knowledgeable. Religion's based on faith and belief, but science, there is knowledge, there is fact, there is truth in it, and everything about it is real because it's been proven.
Just to add, science is a system to trying to find truth. And we know that the truth based on evidence is the best way to figure out, to solve our problems. And we just build this evidence on hypotheses, and then we construct theories.
So, yeah, science.
Science and finger guns?
So I guess we go now.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, back to you guys for your opening statements.
Okay. Yeah,
All right,
sure.
So we're not here debating is there a God or a creator versus science. We are here debating religion versus science. For the purpose of this, we are defining religion as any cultural system or group that tries to adhere to a designated set of behaviors and practices. Usually these behaviors and practices are passed down through spoken word or text. Religion is about rules of being good. It is about love, and it is about faith in other humans. You guys.
That's it for opening statement.
That was
Great. Excellent. So it goes back to you guys for your 4 statements.
for you.
Okay. Science and religion, they have the same base but different logic. What does it mean? Both based on axioms, and axioms are something that is evidence but based on different sources. For example, religions base those axioms on dogmas. And dogmas are based on 3 things, on a holy book or revelation or an authority. The difference between science and religion is that, for example, this is my second point, that science doesn't have authority, they have experts, and they don't use holy books, they have millions of books. And they don't base on revelation, they use evidence. And when we base all these things and this all accumulation of evidence, we construct suppositions that are hypotheses. And when we have more evidence, we can construct theories. And this is the difference between science and religion. They have the same base but different logic. Religion have a circular logic. They trying to explain their things based on their same source, and the source is the evidence. It's a circular logic.
Yeah, going off of what he said too, if you're arguing for religion, and there are lots of religions, so you're just going to pick one, or how many are you arguing? We went to adherence.com and we calculated there are over 4,200 different religions, faith groups, tribes, cultures, all within the world, and that's just that. And then there's only one science, because science is the proven fact of everything in there. And even then, religion is a lot based on, personal experience, is a lot based on bias and what you were raised to believe. Whereas science, it transcends that, it's all true, everything about it is true, and you can believe in it. Belief is a big part of religion, but it's still the personal experience of somebody who is experiencing that. But science it's above that, it's stronger than that.
Alrighty, excellent points, but I'm going to have to actually cite Francis Collin. He was the director of the National Human Genome Project and an atheist until the age of 27 before he converted to Christianity. He's a forthright Christian who converted from atheism at age 27, and now time to advise young evangelical scientists on how to declare their faith in science's largely agnostic upper reaches. He has been director of the Human Genome Research Institute since 1993 and was the head of the team that co-mapped the 3 billion biochemical letters of our genetic blueprint, a milestone Bill Clinton honored in 2000 with a comparing Meriwether's map to the fateful Continental Expedition. So Francis Collins is a mid-atheist, was an atheist, and one of my favorite things that he says is it's from a debate with Richard Dawkins, who I'm sure you guys being on the side of science are familiar with, but Dawkins called religion a cop-out and said if God wanted to create life and create humans, it would be slightly odd that he should choose the extraordinarily roundabout way of waiting for 10 billion years before life got started and then waiting another 4 billion years until you got human beings capable of worshiping and sinning and all the other things religious people are interested. And then Collins responded with what I like to think is a very, just really well put one, is who are we to say that that was an odd way to do it? I don't think that it is God's purpose to make his intention absolutely obvious to us. If it suits him to be a deity that we must seek without being forced to, would it not have been sensible for him to use the mechanism of evolution without posting obvious road signs to reveal his road to creation? And I'm going to have to also call you on when you say science is one field, but it's not. Things like psychology or geology, they're soft sciences versus hard sciences. You've got, even within, say, the field of biochemistry, you have scientists who deal with certain absolutes, and then you've got, say, like geologists who would not know a single thing about this. So science is not an all-encompassing group, and isn't belief in something and in absolutes what makes someone dogmatic?
I'm going to begin by saying that the universe, in all of its brilliance and scope, must have been caused by something. The Big Bang, perhaps. I introduced to you what's called the first cause argument. This is a theory that suggests that every event must have a cause, and this cause, in turn, must have a cause, and so on and so forth.
And that was said by Aristotle, actually.
Yes, and so on and so forth. This process can technically go into infinity, but an infinite loop of causes in itself must have a first cause, because how could anything go into infinity unless there is an ultimate supreme being in control of some kind of dimension higher than our own? This first cause is God.
Okay, so those are your 4 statements?
Yep.
Great, now we have a minute break before we get into the open debate.
Okay, so there's, give me a second to sync up my other scientists. If you're attacking evolution, what the scientists who believed in God?
Is that it?
Well, that's Darwin.
I'm just saying for like,
Darwin himself. We got Isaac Newton, Carl Sagan, again Francis Collins, who's the author of the Human Genome Project. Yes. Yeah, all way to do so. Okay, here's the gravitational constant.
yeah.
Right on.
Was that the?
There's our sound. Open debate is live when you guys are ready.
Okay, so in your opening statement, you said you weren't going to debate, if God is real or not, but God's been a main factor in a lot of your points that you've brought up. So
Well, we've argued for a creator because a lot of the religions do have a central grasp of a
so how can
religious
you prove
figure.
that God is real?
We're not arguing is that God real.
I think it's. I think I would hold the burden of proof on scientists
It's,
because we're our.
is science
So
not at its
if
base an
it's
admittance that we
if
don't
science
know
proves
everything?
that God is real, then was it really the religion that proved God was real, or was it the science?
Does it matter what was the source of the proof?
The problem here is like the affirmation, like for example, you use fallacies. Fallacies is like, in this case, is ad hominem. You first name the scientist, or you say Aristotle and justify your argument. But the thing is, like, when you affirm something, like in this case, like religion, they affirm God. Why God and why not God? Or why like Buddhists? Why also
It's-
there is no God to
We actually focus on how
Well, I think we
the
just
three
tried to-
religions that have a central figure are Islam, Christianity, and Judaism.
Yeah, but why you don't go when you use like Christianity, there's a mess like is one God, there is three in one, or there is like, for example, like Jesus. Jesus is God or is not God?
Jesus
No,
is the Son of God.
He's the Son of
Jesus is
God.
God.
It's,
But if you go in the Catholic, it is also Christians. There is like is God, is three in one.
Oh, you're saying the Holy Spirit and all that?
Yeah, the
Yeah, yeah.
Holy Father and Spirit, and then you
Yeah,
just,
that all has to do with like inside the Bible and.
But again, it's a
What
circular
is God?
logic. If you want to explain this, you need to use the source, and the source is the Bible. And
Ooh, that's one opinion, but.
another
What is
source
that source?
another source would also be the Quran.
Again, a holy book. The source is
Yeah.
again
He's
it's a
getting
circular
everything
logic.
from holy books.
Yeah,
It's a
or
circular
Okay, well,
logic.
let's talk about the theory of evolution, okay? This is what you scientists cling to, okay?
Sure.
And there's
What
there's
about
plenty
it?
of, okay. Well, the theory of evolution
Pretty
explains
proof
how
of
life
evolution in
evolved.
nature.
What?
A lot of proof of evolution. in
Okay,
nature.
so the theory of evolution explains how life evolved, but it doesn't explain how life, like, it doesn't explain the origin of life.
it doesn't
So-
explain our moral center.
Yeah, it doesn't explain that either. How can you explain something like love or courage?
Science
Rebuttal?
deals in, I'm going to actually quote Oscar here, science deals in axioms, it deals in absolutes. But no set of axioms is the same because people are bringing their own perspective and their own history to a certain issue. So it's, again, you say the exact sciences and things you can measure, but we didn't used to have the ability to measure atoms. And old science textbooks say we can see how some things are interacting, but then they didn't know what was it. They could observe the cause, but they could not observe what was causing it.
Like in science, you can, yeah, as soon as you can set the question, you can try to find the answer. Like for example, you say like what does?
But is
what
religion
love?
not also trying to find answers to its own questions? What
Have
is
they
the
found
meaning
any?
of life? How to be a better human? What is the best way to
Has any
give of
religion
yourself?
found the meaning of life?
Has
No,
science?
it has science.
No, but it's found answers to questions they've asked.
But the meaning of life is a subjective question. It's not an objective question, and science is based on objective. If like for it's the same thing like the example that I put you with Jesus. If you just go to every religion, you're going to have a different definition about God, and it's the same problem with Jesus, not the same problem with life. You're gonna have several definitions, but in science we need to argue about an objective thing. If you wanted to talk about soul, we need to measure soul. We need to establish like how big is the soul, how is constructed the soul.
It's so I'm actually fascinated that you mentioned the soul because there's been a bit of a debate about the weight of the soul in regards to a living body versus regards to a dead body.
Sounds
Because
scientific.
even subtracting the weight of blood and feces and urine and all of the things that are expelled from the body at death, you know, depending on the way of
Sounds like
death.
a science thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but the thing that's
What
odd
would religion do there?
is the numbers don't add up.
There are plenty of
The,
religious.
the body missing all of the weight of, again, blood, feces, urine, all the things that happen when a body expels at death, is still missing a fraction of its weight. That science has not been able to figure out where that fraction went.
Yeah, but sometimes religion use these holes, and it's like the god of the gaps, that you're trying to just find a hole in religion and in science, and then okay, here is the soul, here is the God. But there are just holes in the systems. As soon as we advance,
But
we
are you
fill
saying that those holes could not be filled with spirituality?
Great open debate, you guys. That was a nice back and forth. You have a minute break now before your closing statements. Excellent work.
I wanna say Darwin, I wanna start
Yeah.
Okay, so does it go about that you wanna go with,
Yeah, it's like it's a fine balance of
well,
who
do
you're
you wanna
waiting,
actually quote Darwin?
being nice to them, and
Yeah.
coming
I
across.
feel like we still did that.
Yeah, sure.
Is the body language?
I think the
Ah.
biggest part of
You know what I just-
it is
Yeah, yeah.
the possibility
You,
of
just tell-
understanding. The other one I like is Sir Isaac Newton, saying, what we know is what we do not know.
Yeah, I'll use this.
These weren't even my close ones. That was all, that open discussion would be a lot faster than I was going to say.
I didn't get to make a lot of points that I wanted to make. Your head was spun around.
Goes by fast, eh?
Yeah, I know, I thought it would take longer.
Time flies when you're winning.
Alright. 2 minutes for closing statements starts with.
Okay, that I mentioned at the beginning that there are different logic, but there is not a war. It's not a war between science and religion. And like humans, we have a lot of problems, and we need to solve those problems. And to solve these problems, we need to use evidence, and evidence based on things that we can measure, that we can work, not from my point of view, not from the point of view of a rabbi or for a priest. It's things that need to work like for all of us.
Yeah, so in science there is evidence, there is fact, there is truth. And in religion you can't prove any of those things are factual. But I just want to end by this quote from Neil deGrasse Tyson. And he says, "The good thing about science is that it's true whether you believe it or not." So, science is true. If you don't, whether you believe it, it's true. If you don't believe in religion, it still can't prove it's true.
And it works.
And
It's,
science works.
Okay, back to the other side for your closing statements.
I'm going to tie in actually is that I believe both religion and science can coexist if they learn to respect their limits. Belief in absolutes is what makes something dogmatic. So if science is at its core the admittance that we do not know everything, perhaps there are greater powers that you don't understand. Perhaps these greater powers are simply laws of the universe you have yet to map. You know, but if you don't know something does not exist, can you deny its existence? I mean, with Schrodinger's cat, until we open that box, that cat is both alive and dead. So could a creator not exist and simultaneously not exist until you prove that they do not?
Which brings me to my point. So science says, the theory of evolution says that natural selection is blind and automatic, and that it works without guidance. A watch is blind and automatic, and it too works without guidance, but it does have a creator. Following this logic, I would say there's a good argument for a divine creator.
Excellent. Great debate, guys.